Till there. My blood has finished boiling and has now come to a gentle simmer, enabling me to once again laugh. Joyous times indeed. Now what, you may ask, has caused this latest bout of pure rage? Well, let's all take a look, shall we, at modern academia and higher education. And I use the term education very loosely. So today we're going to be delving into some of the latest happenings on some university campuses around and about in Muricaland. And in so doing, we're probably going to also find out why so many people consider university and so-called higher education to be a complete and utter farce. So permit me to set the scene for you. Missouri University, 12th of September. A man by the name of Peyton Head, the black gay elected president of MSA, posted on Facebook about an alleged incident of racist attack. The post has since been removed, in which he claims that as he was walking down a street near the university campus, a pickup truck drove past him and the passengers allegedly hurled various racist insults at him. To this date, it appears that no evidence of this attack has actually come to light, so we're just going to have to take his word for it. The campus police have stated that the incident was reported to have happened near the campus, not on it, so they are presumably legally unable to do anything about it. And the Columbia Police Department does not have a report on this incident filed by Peyton. So it would initially appear that he did not actually report this racist attack to law enforcement. 12 days after this event, a massive student protest was held on the campus, with over 100 students taking part in an event entitled Racism Lives Here, in support of the student body president, claiming that the university's administration had delayed reactions to the alleged hate crime that didn't happen on their campus. And a rather interesting comment came from graduate student Ruben Fuck Your Surname, an active participant for the duration of the event, said he was disappointed with the number of white participants. White silence is consent for racism, sexism, and every other ism to continue on this campus. It's going to take a lot more white people than the ones who were there to effect change. Which was followed up by another student saying, even though you may never utter a racial slur, you are just as guilty because you are not speaking up. Because fuck the standard of innocent until proven guilty. Every single white person is guilty by association because some white person somewhere allegedly said something they don't like. It is an unfortunate world we live in, first of all, where racist events do actually happen. But it is also an unfortunate world where people will lie about racist events happening to them. Something which Peyton Head actually then proceeded to do a few days later when he tweeted out that the students need to take precaution, please stay away from the windows in residence halls, the Ku Klux Klan have been confirmed to be sighted on campus. This was of course found out to be a complete fabrication, and he later had to publish an apology. A few other notable examples of racism-baiting hoaxes include the recent example from Berkeley High School, where a fabricated web page was left on display on one of the computers, threatening the university with the presence of the Ku Klux Klan appearing on the 9th of December, which resulted, of course, in Berkeley students banding together shouting Black Power and Black Lives Matter, only for it to later come to light that the mock-up web page was in fact a fabrication of a black student who was subsequently not expelled for the hoax. And there are links to various other cases in the box below this video. Needless to say, this is something that happens. People have historically, do presently, and no doubt in the future will continue to fabricate stories of racist events happening against them or sexist events happening against them simply for attention. I do just find it very interesting that Peyton Head should be confirmed as one of these people a few weeks after he makes an allegation of a racist event happening to him, which he doesn't report to the police and is never confirmed to have happened. And as a side note, the fact that people would fabricate things like this is just disgusting. We do not need false allegations of racist attacks clogging up the justice system, because all this is going to do is divert resources and manpower time away from people who are the actual victims of crime. So needless to say, this allegation of a bunch of white people in a pickup truck, driving slow by a black guy and repeatedly shouting nigger, possibly while strumming a banjo and chewing on a piece of wheat, could very well be a completely legitimate allegation. However, we do have to make the assumption of innocence until proven guilt, or in this instance the assumption that nothing happened until something is proven to have happened. But let's just take his word for it. Listen and believe and all that. And I'd just like here to make a small point about this quote earlier. This white silence is consent for isms. Let's just make the assumption that these white guys going past this guy, hurling all of these racist terms at him, actually happened. I am listening and believing, and it's exactly how he described it. Sure, this is absolutely reprehensible behaviour on part of those individuals. Now please explain to me what this has to do with every white person ever. Let's just take this and swap it around a little bit. If a black person mugs a white person, what would the reaction be if this white person said, well, black people's silence on this is support of criminality, and they clearly all support mugging unless you come to my rally to demonstrate how you're against such things? I can't help but think that if a white person did something like that, they would be roundly condemned as a racist. And here's just another thought for you while we're going down this route of let's blame all white people for the actions of a few white people. Peyton Head, the black, gay president who was elected into position in an overwhelming victory on a campus that is majoritarily white. Yep, voting black people into power is totally the actions of a bunch of racist white people who hate blacks, isn't it? Now let's jump ahead a little bit to October 5th, when a drunk man disrupted a Legion of Black Collegians homecoming royalty court rehearsal. And I want to just stop right there for a second. Legion of Black Collegians. You mean to tell me that there is an exclusively black group on this campus? And presumably this is something that the administration had no problem with coming into existence, and yet you're trying to tell me that this is a university and administration that hates black people, or is complicit in racism. Sounds to me more like they're bending over backwards to do anything they can for black people, but maybe that's just me being a racist, oppressive shitlord who needs to check his privilege. Anyway, this drunk guy interrupted everything that they were doing and was eventually convinced to leave. But apparently on his way out he began to mutter some racist slurs, specifically stating, "These niggers are getting aggressive with me," as he stumbled off the stage. Now, it's rather interesting that in this particular incident, first of all, there are multiple eyewitnesses, which is a great starting point, but I find it rather unusual that in a large group of people, and a drunk person is coming in being interruptive, being abusive, no one thought, hey, I'm just going to get my phone out and videotape this, which seems to be most millennials' general reaction to anything. But not in this particular circumstance for some reason. Just seems a little bit odd to me that that didn't happen. But again, multiple eyewitnesses. So it doesn't really matter that that wasn't the case, I just find it a little bit weird. But anyway, this event actually prompted a response from the university's chancellor, who stated racism and all prejudice is heinous, insidious and damaging to Missou. It hurts students' educations and experience, including their mental health and academic achievement. That is why all of us must commit to changing the culture at this university. Spoken like a true individual who is either complicit or indifferent to racism. And after this statement was made, the exclusively black-only society known as the Legion of Black Collegians said, in 2015, we still do not have an inclusive campus, we still aren't welcome. Despite the fact that they have their own separate event and their own separate organizations that only they can join, they are totally not welcome there. You'll have to forgive me if I find it a little bit hard to believe you. But anyway, this event led, of course, to another demonstration, led by student Jonathan Butler, who demanded a response from the university president, Timothy Wolfe, the boss of Chancellor Lofton, who gave the earlier statement. And the claims of what their protest was is a little bit different to how their protest actually turned out.
So that's why, as we strategized and put that together, we decided to have the demonstration. Not shut down the parade, but have a demonstration where we could have a almost dialogue, if you will, directly with Tim Wolfe.
What power? Power! What power? Power! What? Oh shit, wait, sorry, I thought we were doing something else entirely. Go on, internet, quote mine the fuck out of that joke, you know you want to. But what I find most fascinating about this is this Jonathan Butler chap. We're going to be hearing about him quite a bit throughout this video. Because this entire furore came about because some person allegedly called someone else a nigger from their pickup truck as they were driving by on a road that wasn't on the campus. So this entire thing is all over the use of one word, and how Jonathan feels that no one should be allowed to call anyone that word. Unless... Yeah, nigga.
We're upset that we're oppressed, that people can call us the N-word.
Yeah, nigga. One rule for me, another for thee, eh, Johnny boy? But this isn't even the funniest part of this protest. The funniest part of the protest actually comes a little bit later, when the Legion of Black Legions published a list of demands from the university and indeed the system president, Timothy Wolfe. The first demand stating that he must issue a written apology, part of which must cover Wolfe's gross negligence allowing his driver to hit one of the demonstrators. And then he apparently consented to the physical violence of bystanders and refused to intervene when the Columbia Police Department used excessive force with the demonstrators. Well, clearly some shit went down. Fortunately, I happen to have been able to dig up a video of this car intentionally running over some of the demonstrators, and of the horrendous police brutality that was enacted against them. Viewers with a weaker constitution should probably look away now, because this is some gory shit.
2 students, some 6-year-old,
Do you want to go to jail or something?
Whew, that was brutal. Jonathan Butler there, absolutely taken out by the president's car. I think we need to watch it a few more times just for the true horror to sink in.
Some 6-year-old, some 6-year-old, some 6-year-old,
Yep, jumping in front of a car is now the same as a car intentionally driving into you. It's almost as if he was just so fucking desperate to try and make drama out of anything. Don't believe me? Let's look at some of that police violence.
Support each other!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
We have nothing to lose but our chains!
Power!
Power! Power! Power! Power! Power! Don't give them conviction!
Guys, let's go. Let's go. Don't give them conviction over your body. Don't give them conviction. You film me, I'm filming you. Let's go. That's great. Don't give them conviction. Thank you so much. Move, get out of the road. Out of the road.
There were no survivors. But just when you thought this shit couldn't get even more hilarious, Mr. Butler, being the desperate drama-seeking attention whore that he is, went on a little bit of a hunger strike to try and strong-arm Wolfe out of his job, stating that he will starve himself to death until Mr. Wolfe acknowledges that systems of oppression exist, and acknowledging his white privilege. Turns out that in his poor, food-deprived state, with his body shutting down, that Jonathan Butler apparently forgot that he's fucking loaded. Coming from a family with an estimated wealth of over $20 million. Standing up there right in the top 1%. But you just sit back and relax while he tells you about how oppressed he is. The correct response to someone threatening to starve themselves to death until you lose your job is, of course, to actually say, challenge accepted, and let nature take its course. But of course Wolfe, being a modern, progressive, straight white male cuck, stepped down. Because nothing says stop being a bunch of whiny little crybabies quite like capitulating to their demands. He did at least, however, maintain enough testicular fortitude to not give them the handwritten apology that they were so desperate for. But of course, this gets even better, because this all led to the formation of another protest group calling themselves Concerned Student 1950. The 1950 being in reference to the first year when black students were permitted into this particular university. And this organisation bravely took it upon themselves to speak for every non-white person who has ever attended that university. Because as we all well know, black people are just a homogeneous lump who all think the same thing. Never shall they form individual opinions of their own. Or at least that's what this group seems to think. And they held what I can only describe as the most simultaneously cringe-inducing, yet also rage-inducing protest that I have seen so far this year, by setting up a small shanty town of tents in the middle of a lawn, putting up a small sign written in crayon, and then proceeding to enforce a totalitarian authoritarian-style system in the middle of a public place, attempting to curtail and control free speech, totally banning any sort of freedom of the press, and enacting violence in order to censor anyone who disagreed with them. And now we're going to see what actually happened to some members of the press when they attempted to exercise their basic First Amendment rights.
Please, sir. Sir, I am sorry. These are people too. You need to back off.
No, there's no law.
You know what? Let's back up about personal space. Back off. Leave these students alone.
I fucking love the lecturing about personal space there. You need to respect people's personal space, she says, inserting herself directly into his personal space.
I need to get through. No, I need to get through. Are you not going to let me through?
She's in the way. I'm not in the way.
Because you have
Don't push me, ma'am.
Don't push me.
Sir.
Oh, this kind of behaviour just pisses me off. Get all up in someone's face, just insert yourself right into their personal space, and then accuse them of victimising you. Is anyone else getting flashbacks to this bullshit?
Hey, sir, you need to go to jail today. You need to go to jail today.
Get the fuck off me! Get your hand off my breast now! Get your hands off my breast now!
Sorry, what's your name? Can you please leave? You're with the Office of Greeklife?
My name is 1950.
Ma'am, are you with the Office of Greeklife?
No, my name is Concerned Student of 1950.
It's funny because you do work at the Office of Greeklife. Or, should I say, you did. Hope you're enjoying that administrative leave.
You said that you're harassing. Excuse me, sir.
You just touch her? Did you just touch her?
We're asking
No,
you
she touched me.
politely to...
Tell us you the one jumped.
Respect for this community.
I fucking love that. He reaches in the air a little bit, has his arms forcefully pulled down by someone, does a little tiny jump, is slapped down, and then it's, oh, you the one jumped. You the one victimizing her. When you combine this sort of attitude with some of the other things that get said in this clip, take these for a couple of examples.
She's going to talk to you or not?
She doesn't need to talk to me. I don't want her to talk to me.
She doesn't want to
You need
see
to
you.
back up.
I don't want her to talk
I know that.
to
You
you.
need to
I
back
don't
up.
want to see you.
I know that. I know that. I know you better back up.
Hey, you gotta step back, bro.
These are the sorts of things that are said by people who are looking to start a physical confrontation. And I can't help but think that if this Asian reporter had just put a single foot wrong in this entire situation, then I can't help but think that we would currently be reading articles and watching videos telling us about how the concerned students are good boys who didn't do nothing wrong, and they just need more government money for them programs. And if you think I'm exaggerating, just watch the next few seconds very carefully, and you will notice someone very distinctly moving forward, opening a space, inserting himself into it, and then being restrained and told not to.
Come on, man.
Nobody's touching you around here.
Are we not pushing? I know, but they'll change the story on you. They'll change the story. I'm moving. I'm walking forward. I'm walking forward.
And then this bullshit happens.
You're pushing me. You're pushing me.
I'm being pushed. We're walking.
You're not doing your job. You're not doing your job.
It's our right to walk forward, isn't it? I believe it's my right to walk
Fuck these people. Seriously. It's our right to walk forward. Yes, and it's my right to walk forward swinging my fists blindly. Do you see the problem here? No, of course you don't. What you are doing is using mob rule to forcefully remove a member of the public from a public space. That is technically kidnapping, and an act of violence as well. But I love the doublethink here. It was the right of the person driving a car on the road to drive forward. No, but that was assault. That was mowing down a student. That's unacceptable. But here, it's your right to walk forward, causing harm to someone else. Do you see the comparison and the doublethink and the mental chip? No, of course you don't, because you're fucking retards.
Well, hi, media. Can I talk to you?
No, you need to get out.
Well,
you need to get out.
No, I don't.
You need to get out.
I actually don't.
All right. Hey, who wants to help me get this reporter out of here? I need some muscle over here. Help me get him out. Who's going to help me?
Are you documenting? What are you doing?
I'm documenting.
Okay, well,
you need to get out. You need to get out.
This is public property.
Yeah, I know, that's a really good one. I'm a communication faculty, and I really get that argument. But you need to go. You need to go. You need to go.
And this reporter then also gets frog-marched out by a bunch of people holding hands and walking forward. Because fuck your right to freedom of movement. Fuck your right to freedom of speech. Fuck your right to basic press freedom. These things do not matter to these people. The only consolation that I have in this video is knowing that this teacher, this member of their faculty, Melissa Click, the "you need to get out" woman, has resigned from one of her voluntary positions at the university. Although she still actually has a job there, somehow. I wonder how System President Wolfe's white male privilege is looking right now. Some event allegedly happens off of the campus, and one undocumented event allegedly happens on the campus. He has to step down. He has to lose his job. He has to give a press conference apologizing for his lack of action before losing his job. He has to be ritually sacrificed before going and not being welcomed back. Over instances that aren't actually necessarily directly his problem that he was not directly involved in. Or you can be the white female lecturer, be caught on camera assaulting your students and infringing their basic freedoms, but you get to keep your job. Because straight white male privilege, right? At least Melissa Click has had a complaint formally filed against her as a result of her behaviour. But I can't help but think that it probably won't go anywhere. And if, by some miracle, it actually does go somewhere and charges are pressed, I can't help but think that we're going to see a load of online social justice warriors crawling out of the woodwork and saying that any sort of legal charge brought against her is only going to be proof that Missou hates women, and that this reporter is a misogynist. And the really scary part about all of this is that these tactics worked. Wolfe resigned from his position, in line with the list of demands, and I have no doubt that Missou University is going to capitulate with their other insane demands, such as forceful quotas for people of minorities, both as students and as staff, despite their actual ability, and giving them all the funding that they want to push their ideology even further. And the main reason that this is terrifying is that this sort of behaviour is spreading, with students at CMC imitating this protest by going on hunger strike until their dean loses his job. But that is another video for another time. This shit needs to stop. This is what happens when you raise a generation of people with participation ribbons who genuinely think that they are all the most special people in the world who are entitled to feel safe and feel comfortable all the fucking time. People so indoctrinated, so entrenched in their belief that they are always oppressed no matter what. Even to the point where having their own dedicated spaces is not enough for them. These are broken people, calling for the racial segregation that we got rid of decades ago, and all in the name of progress. And it's honestly a little bit sad that these people cannot see how racist they are being, by basically saying that the only way that they feel safe is if they are surrounded by people who look like them. And you know what? I've got a really creative solution. Let's give them what they want. But let's not stop at schools or places of work or buses or trains or anything like that. Let's just give them a whole continent. An entire continent filled with people of colour, where people of colour make up the overwhelming majority of people in positions of power, and indeed the overwhelming majority of the population. An entire landmass where they can just live in isolation with their own kinds, because that is the progressive thing to do. If only such a nirvana could exist where they could go. And if you just wanted a little bit more, just the tiniest bit more proof that all of these students bitching and moaning over these events, some of which we still don't even know if they happened, are nothing more than a bunch of entitled, privileged, spoilt children, then all you have to do is see how they reacted to the very real terrorist attack on Paris that happened only a few days after their protests. You know, those terrorist attacks that killed hundreds and injured hundreds more. Well, hashtag fuck Paris. Because black kids trapped in their rooms, too scared to go outside in case someone says mean things to them, is just the same as people being taken hostage and systematically executed. To anyone who thinks like this. And all of you Missou students who have been featured throughout this video, for your selfish stupidity, I can only say 2 words. Fuck you. And now, because I don't want to leave on a downer, here's a joke for you. How does a Black Lives Matter concerned student of 1950s member change a light bulb? They just put the bulb in and the world revolves around them.